Radhe Krishna, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha. Welcome to Thirukkolur Penpillai Rahasyam episode number 74. In our current Bhakti Rahasyam, Thirukkolur Penpillai is benchmarking herself with the qualities of compassion which was demonstrated by a king who ruled our lands in very ancient times. Now this king ruled his subjects very well and he was known for upholding dharma or righteousness. This king goes by the name Uparicharavasu, and Thirukkolur Penpillai in her Bhakti Rahasyam statement, she says, "Did I feel for all living beings like King Uparicharavasu?" Now, because of his interest in upholding righteousness, in fact, King Uparicharavasu had got a boon where, because of the principles of truth he upheld, he always walked a few feet above the land. There is another version where he says because of his interest in maintaining dharma or upholding the truth, he could fly his chariots in the sky. Now this is very similar to the character of King Yudhishthira in Mahabharata, where his chariot also is usually a few feet above the land because of his inclination to dharma. That's why he is called Dharma Raja. So this is something similar, but the story of King Uparicharavasu is much more dated than Mahabharata. In fact, in Mahabharata, in one of the parvas, there is a conversation where this story of King Uparicharavasu is narrated. Now for us, Mahabharata itself is approximately 5,000 years old. Now if this story of King Uparicharavasu finds a mention in Mahabharata, then one can just imagine how much ancient or how old this story is and how great the King Uparicharavasu was to show us the path of righteousness, truth, right from the past. Now coming back to the story, King Uparicharavasu has a case before him. This case involved two parties. Now one was a set of sages and the second were the devas or the demigods themselves. Now the problem statement is revolving around sacrifice. These sages had done some ritualistic sacrifice. Now note that in the olden days, worshipping God through performing various kind of sacrifices was a prevalent practice. In this case, or as the case with any other ritualistic practices, at the end of those rituals there used to be some form of a sacrifice. Now this is meant to be, or this is understood as animal sacrifice right from the past, but there could be a possibility that this concept could have been misunderstood, because if we see the Vedas, where it is mentioned that the sacrifice has to be in the form of aja. Now aja can be a goat. I mean, it means a goat in Sanskrit, but it also means paddy crops. So it is open to interpretation whether an aja in a sacrifice at the end of rituals would mean literally sacrificing a goat or an animal sacrifice, or does it mean an animal created out of, or a replica of an animal created from paddy seeds, which are then offered into the ritualistic fire as a sacrifice? Now this question came before Uparicharavasu, an important judgment where the sages say that it is a sin to kill animals, hence we will offer the sacrifice in the form of a replica of an animal created using paddy seeds. That was their interpretation of the word aja. But the gods came to say that it has to be literally an animal which has to be sacrificed. Now, did the gods support animal sacrifice? May not be. This incident would have been deliberately played to highlight the greatness of King Uparicharavasu as well. So we should not look into the content as it is. So when there was this debate, King Uparicharavasu was passing by that zone where he was called upon both the parties to give a judgment. The king heard out both the sides of the argument, and in the hearts he knew the sages were right. He, being an upholder of dharma, he felt it was a sin to kill animals. But again, as a part of the entire play by the gods, he gave an opinion siding the devatas, where he said that yes, it has to be an animal which has to be sacrificed. Now the sages were very angry and they felt that he had sided with adharma or non-righteousness, and they immediately curse him that he will lose his power of having his chariot, say, flying in the sky, or the chariot a few feet above the ground. So he would lose that privilege, and they also cursed him to go and suffer in the netherworlds or the underworld, which is the region below the earth's surface, for siding with this non-righteousness. Now King Uparicharavasu accepts this predicament. He was a devotee of Lord Vishnu. So with that devotion in his heart, he accepts this. He goes to the netherworld, and obviously the conditions there are not suitable for human life. So he undergoes a lot of sufferings, yet meditating on Lord Vishnu. Now there were certain demons in the netherworld. So he becomes one among the residents of the netherworld, and his lifetime is passing there. At that point in time, again he gets a question for judgment from the demons. They ask him who is really a demon and who is a devotee. In a way, they want to clarify about the definitions of evil and good. Now King Uparicharavasu, out of his experience of giving the past judgment, plus all his other experiences on dealing with matters on righteousness, and with his current realization on meditating on Lord Vishnu. When he was the king, he would have had other matters to look into, but here he was solely focusing on Lord Vishnu. Thereby he had a lot of realizations in his heart, where he realized his mistake, that he shouldn't have sided with the Devatas at the time of judgment, because of which he is in the current condition. But he felt good that it was all in the good that he could actually come to this particular realization. So he gives the judgment to the residents of the underworld that whoever supports the killing of another living being is verily a demon, and one like him who feels one like him in his current state, where he has realized that every life matters. There is Lord Vishnu residing in everyone's heart, may be it a human being or a non-human being, but a living being. He felt that he realized that Lord Vishnu is present in everything. So, such a person who realizes the presence of Lord in everyone is verily a devotee. So, this was his lesson to the demons there, that it is not about the birth of a person, but it is about what are the ideals, the philosophies, the beliefs which the person carries in his or her heart. Very, very important message in our today's world as well, where a lot of matters are given importance based on birth, whereas the thinking or the attitude, the beliefs of the persons are never cared for. They always assume a secondary position. Here, the king, 5,000 plus years ago, he is giving this judgment that it's the thoughts, what is within, what is present in our heart, what have we realized. If we realize the Lord as being present in us, as well as the same Lord being present in everyone else, and we give the necessary respect to that person necessarily is a devotee. This is one version of the story. The other version says that at the time of the judgment, he did not side with the Devatas, he sided with the sages, where he says that the killing of any animal under the garb of sacrifice is verily wrong. So he sides with the sages. At that time, the Devatas get angry and they curse him to that he would lose all his privileges of flying in the sky or having his feet above the ground, for which he doesn't care. He says that for him it is very important. So in this version, King Uparicharavasu is already presented as an exalted soul, as a realized soul at that time itself, where he tells the Devatas that it is not right to kill any animal, and it's again the Lord is present in everyone. So with that, he takes the firm stand and he is not bothered about losing his privileges in support of righteousness. So whatever versions we may like to take, the end point is, the clear message is, King Uparicharavasu comes across as a truly realized soul who gave a clear message to respect everybody, to see the Lord in everyone, whether it be a human being or a non-human being. So this is what even attracts Thirukkolur Penpillai, when this quality of compassion is what she is moved by. So in her Bhakti Rahasyam number 74, she says, did I feel for all the living beings? Did I display that compassion like King Uparicharavasu. So it has a very important message for us as well, which we have been discussing throughout the episode, where we see a lot of violence, hatred, killings, all in the name of, or all under the garb of some intentions. But here the message for us is to realize that the same force, the same life which exists within us, which helps us to move around, which helps us to carry out our activities, it is the same present in all the other living beings. So what is the point in harming or hurting them? So there are lot of other discussions which can be triggered by this point, whether it be animal killing, whether it be violence or hatred against our own human communities, with the other with the rampant destruction or slaughter in the animal kingdom for various needs. Everything can be connected back to this point, and it is a time for us to really introspect whether we really need all those things to survive, or whether there are various other alternatives. Definitely, if there is an animal sacrifice under the name of gods, definitely the gods won't want an animal to be sacrificed. If there is a sacrifice for, say, satisfying the taste buds, then there are a lot of people, there are a lot of movements which are coming out with a lot of other alternatives to satisfy the same taste buds. So it's time for us to introspect, explore these things, these newer things, and see what contribution or what role we can play in helping the nature, and also in developing that respect with which everyone should be treated. That is one of the formulas to lead a happy and a peaceful life, where we also feel respected and we treat everyone with the same respect and love. So that was from our current Bhakti Rahasyam. Stay blessed, stay devoted, and stay tuned for our next Bhakti Rahasyam. Radhe Krishna, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha.